In daily Mass during Lent, instead of successive readings from a Gospel and from one or other of the other books of the Old or New Testament, individual passages are chosen which speak in one way or another to some aspect of our Lenten observance. Lent initially developed as a period of intense and immediate preparation for adults who were to be baptized at the Easter Vigil. As infant baptism became common, the season increasingly came to be understood as a time of prayer and fasting, of conversion and renewal. The two themes come together in the present tendency to see Lent as a period of preparation for renewing our baptismal promises at Easter. Today's first reading is taken from the book of Deuteronomy, the fifth and last of the books that make up the Pentateuch or Torah. It contains 3 sermons of Moses addressed to the Israelites on the eve of their entry into the Promised Land. Today's passage is from the closing verses of the 3rd sermon. After recalling what God did for his people in liberating them from slavery in Egypt and in sealing a covenant with them at Sinai, Moses now challenges them to live up to their side of the covenant. If they do, if they love God, walk in his ways, obey his commandments, he says, God will bless them and they will flourish in the land into which they are about to enter. If, on the other hand, they turn away from God and refuse to listen to his voice, disaster will befall them. The choice that Moses offers the people is a dramatic one. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses, he says. Choose life. For Moses, that meant choosing God and his covenant. Although there are many ways of approaching Lent, the idea of choosing life is one that takes us to its heart. In John's Gospel, Jesus says, I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. Although he later identifies that life as eternal life, a life by which we are able to share even now in the life of God, far from being opposed to our natural life, it perfects and brings it to fulfillment. The Word made flesh in Jesus is the same Word through whom God created the universe. He has come among us not to save us from the world, but to save the world, especially the human world, but in and through it, to some degree, the whole of created reality. As legitimate as the distinction and separation between church and state in our culture are, they must not be understood in such a way as to restrict our religious vision and religious sensitivity to the liturgy and to works of piety and devotion. The God with whom, through Christ, we try to be in relationship with is the Creator God. He is the beginning and the end, the source and the ground of all that is. The Bible calls him the living God, the God who gives and nurtures and inspires life. The first pages of Genesis, from which we've read in recent weeks, remind us that all of life belongs to God, and that we as creatures made in his image and likeness are called to exercise a stewardship over it, to foster and nurture it, to contribute to it in any way that we can. Nothing could be more apt, more inspiring, more challenging for us at the beginning of Lent than Moses' invitation to choose life. On the most fundamental level, it means choosing to defend and foster human life at every stage of its development, from conception to death. The range of activities and attitudes that involves is enormous. Our lives pass through many stages. What choosing life means at any one of them varies. When we are young, we have to make choices about education and career, marriage and family. Once we are a little older, our choices tend to be about priorities or balancing responsibilities. Sometimes we are called to choose life for ourselves, sometimes in support of others. A person who has a problem with drugs or alcohol or with being obese chooses life by seeking help and collaborating with that help in confronting and overcoming what is undermining their life. In some cases, choosing life means moving beyond certain events or situations. How easy it can be to give in to negative feelings, feelings of despair or jealousy, or of being the eternal victim. Over the years, I've known a number of people who at some earlier point in their life were hurt or mistreated or passed over for this or that position, and who were never able to get over it. Stuck in the past, they were unable to choose life, unable to put whatever it was behind them and move forward with renewed energy and openness for what life might offer them. A number of years ago, I saw a powerful and moving Japanese film entitled Ikiru, To Live. Its main character was a typical bureaucrat in a small city who never took any initiatives, never dared to disturb his colleagues or superiors, no matter what request people might make of him. Only when he realized that he was dying of cancer did he find the courage and the energy actually to do something. In the face of death, he wanted to live, not in the sense of simply prolonging his life, but rather in the sense of achieving something with it, of making a difference, of contributing to the life and well-being of others. We can think of God's continuing creative activity as a kind of power for life. He is with us, we are with him. Like the world itself, we depend for our existence on him. This is even more true at the level of our mind and heart, at the level of our spirit. Here he touches and stirs and empowers us. Prayer is so important because it opens us to God and to his healing, life-giving presence in us. Human life involves many things, including work and creativity, individual, familial, and civic responsibilities. It also, and in a very special way, involves the heart. At its deepest level, to choose life is to choose love. Love of God and self, of family and friends, love of the world and of life itself. Such love will bring us blessings now and forever.